The heavy gates of Oak Ridge Maximum Security Prison swung open with a metallic groan, and Lucas stepped into a world shrouded in despair and uncertainty. He felt the cold steel walls closing in as a chill raced down his spine. His heart hammered in his chest, each thud echoing the unrelenting reality of his new life behind bars. With a mix of dread and curiosity, he observed the seasoned inmates, some indifferent, others watching, assessing. In his diary, Lucas scribbled his thoughts, capturing the cacophony of clattering chains and the distant clang of doors around him. Conversations were hushed, but the air was thick with unspoken tension. Every moment felt heavy, laden with the weight of past decisions. Lucas wondered if he could find acceptance among these hardened souls. As his initial terror began to morph into reluctant resolve, he realized that understanding the unwritten rules of survival would be crucial to navigating this uncharted territory. The haunting silence envelops Lucas like a heavy fog, seeping into the cracks of his psyche. In the vast corridors of the maximum security prison, the echoes of his footsteps are swallowed, leaving behind an unsettling emptiness that amplifies his anxiety. Each day blurs into the next, marked only by the distant clang of metal doors and the muffled sounds of distant conversations among seasoned inmates. He writes about the pervasive fear, the chill of vulnerability coursing through him as he navigates this new reality. The silence, once a refuge, morphs into a reminder of isolation, amplifying each thought, each regret. Lucas reflects on how this quietude is both a prison and a canvas, a space where nightmares linger and suppressed dreams hover just out of reach. He begins to understand that in this void, amidst the shadows, he must find his voice to break through the suffocating silence that surrounds him, setting the stage for his journey of survival. The steady sound of a metal door clanging shut marks the beginning of another day in the prison's unforgiving routine. Maria awakens to the blaring of the morning bell, a stark reminder of the schedule that governs every aspect of her life now. As she rises from the thin mattress, she takes a moment to inhale the faint scent of stale coffee wafting through the air. Breakfast is a hasty affair, with trays clattering against each other as inmates shuffle to their assigned tables. Between bites of tasteless gruel, Maria engages in quiet conversations, sharing fleeting smiles with fellow prisoners who share a mix of stories and sorrows. Yard time offers a brief respite from the confinement, where the sun fights its way through the high concrete walls, casting a warm glow over familiar faces. Here, amidst the monotony, Maria finds solace in the connections that blossom, anchored by shared experiences in this stark world of confinement. Maria's days blend into one another as she navigates the rigid structure of prison life, where every moment is dictated by the call of a guard or the clang of a metal gate. Yet amid the drudgery, there are glimmers of connection that punctuate the monotony. During yard time, whispers of shared laughter rise above the echoes of solitude, as Maria finds solace in small acts of kindness, offering a compliment on an inmate's new haircut or sharing a piece of contraband candy hidden in her pocket. These fleeting moments defy the oppressive nature of their surroundings, creating a fragile sense of community. She writes about her unlikely friendship with Tina, a tough exterior masking deep vulnerability. Together they forge a bond that softens the hard edges of their lives. In her diary, Maria reflects on how these interactions break the silence, revealing the humanity that endures even within the cold walls of despair. James had been inside for so long that the outside world felt like a distant memory. His past weighed heavily on him, filled with shadows that danced in the periphery of his thoughts. Each diary entry became a cathartic release, a vivid canvas where he painted the regrets of his choices, a tragic accident that had forever altered his path. As he scribbled late into the night, the haunting details of his life before incarceration often pulled him back, dragging him into the sorrow of lost opportunities and fractured relationships. Yet, in this confining space, a flicker of purpose ignited. He began meeting with younger inmates, sharing his story, offering guidance born of hard-earned wisdom. Their eager faces reflected a longing for redemption, and in their eyes he saw the hope for a second chance. Slowly, the scars of his past transformed into a beacon of possibility, bridging the chasm between remorse and renewal. James poured his heart into mentoring the younger inmates, realizing that his time in this unforgiving world could yield something meaningful. Each session in the dimly lit room felt like a lifeline for both him and the eager faces that surrounded him. He shared stories of poor choices and the heavy burden of the consequences that followed, painting vivid pictures of his life before this place claimed him. The pain of those memories softened when he saw understanding emerge in their eyes, an acknowledgement of shared struggles. In vulnerable moments, he encouraged each inmate to confront their own past, urging them to see mistakes not as shackles but as stepping stones toward growth. As laughter and thoughtful discussions replaced the sound of metal clanging, James felt a purpose blossom within him. Through guiding others, he began to heal his own wounds, forging connections that transcended confinement. In these moments, hope flickered like a candle in the dark, illuminating paths toward redemption. Aisha often escapes the oppressive walls of her cell through the strokes of her paintbrush. Each morning she awakens before the guards' shouts pierce the tranquility of night, her mind swirling with colors and emotions. In the starkness of her small room, she transforms the dull gray concrete into vibrant landscapes, each canvas a rebellion against despair. She scribbles reflections in her diary about the therapeutic power of art, sharing moments where laughter punctuates the silence, especially during impromptu art sessions with fellow inmates. The artwork becomes a medium for connection, where stories emerge from shared struggles, creating bonds that weave a tapestry of resilience. Aisha revels in the joy of seeing others express their turmoil through creativity, reinforcing the idea that even within cages, the human spirit can flourish. As these artistic friendships blossom, her diary reveals not just personal growth, but the collective healing that art inspires within their confined world. Aisha nestled into her small cell, the walls covered in her artwork, a riot of colors daring to break the monotony of gray. Each brushstroke was a rebellion against the oppressive silence that engulfed the prison. In her diary, she penned her thoughts about the healing power of creativity, detailing how each canvas transformed her confinement into a sanctuary. She found solace in moments spent together with fellow inmates, exchanging art supplies and techniques, creating not just artwork, but a community. Their mutual struggles and shared passions sparked a newfound camaraderie as they gathered in the small art room where laughter and whispers mingled with the scent of paint. Through their art, they celebrated their humanity, igniting a flicker of hope in the darkest corners of despair. Aisha reflected on how each piece served as a testament to their strength, proof that beauty could emerge even in the most confining conditions. Lucas sat on the edge of his narrow bunk, the cold steel pressing against him, a reminder of the constraints that surrounded his existence. As the days dwindled toward his parole date, his heart raced with a tumult of emotions, anxiety mixed with a flicker of hope. Memories of the world outside loomed large, shadowed by dread. He thought of familiar faces, laughter, and the warmth of sunlight on his skin, but a heavy weight accompanied each recollection. What if he no longer recognized the streets he once walked? What if he was met with disdain, or worse, indifference? Confronting these demons became his daily struggle. Each scratch of his pen on paper was therapy, a way to exorcise the fears that clawed at him relentlessly. Lucas penned his vulnerability, articulating the swirling chaos within, desperate to believe that redemption awaited him beyond the bars, an uncertain future that echoed with the silence of his past. Lucas sat on the edge of his bunk, staring blankly at the concrete wall, his thoughts swirling like a tempest. The weight of his impending parole hung over him like a shroud, shadowing every moment. Memories of a life he once took for granted flooded his mind. Family dinners, laughter with friends, the simple joy of feeling the sun on his face. Now, even the thought of stepping beyond those heavy gates filled him with dread. Would he be welcomed back, or would the world he once knew have turned its back on him? As he scribbled in his diary, fear intertwined with determination. He knew that the stigma of being an ex-con awaited him. Yet in that moment of vulnerability, he resolved to fight for a place in a society that often saw only the label, not the man beneath it. Each word he wrote, a step toward reclaiming his life. As the days blended into weeks, the isolation of prison life began to morph into something more profound for the inmates. Within those cold, concrete walls, bonds of brotherhood formed unexpectedly. Lucas, Maria, James, and Aisha discovered that their shared struggles became a powerful foundation for connection. During yard time, laughter echoed alongside the whispers of shared fears and dreams, creating a tapestry of togetherness amidst the stark surroundings. With each conversation, they stripped away the labels of their pasts, finding common ground in their aspirations for redemption. Maria would share stories of her students to inspire others, while James offered wisdom drawn from his years of regret. Aisha's art, vibrant strokes against the gray, brought them closer as they collaborated on projects that fostered unity. These moments, so simple yet significant, reminded them that their humanity was not lost behind bars, but rather illuminated in the warmth of camaraderie. The transformative power of forgiveness begins to resonate deeply within the prison walls, echoing through the shared experiences of the inmates. Their diaries reveal a profound journey of introspection as they confront the weight of their past actions, grappling with feelings of guilt and remorse. In quiet moments, James encourages others to put pen to paper, turning their pain into narratives that illuminate their paths to healing. The act of writing fosters a sense of accountability, allowing each individual to release their burdens, yet as they learn to forgive themselves, they also discover the strength to forgive those who have wronged them. Maria recalls a moment of confrontation with a former friend whose actions contributed to her imprisonment, leading to an unexpected reconciliation that sparks hope. Bonded by their vulnerabilities, the inmates find solace in their collective stories, igniting a fire within them to move forward, transforming regret into the power for positive change. As the program unfolds, the atmosphere shifts within the prison walls. Lucas, Maria, James, and Aisha find themselves at the forefront of a transformative rehabilitation initiative, where they engage in candid discussions about their pasts and futures. Through guided sessions, they confront their personal demons while discovering new tools for self-improvement. The shared vulnerability of their stories fosters deep connections. Laughter and tears meld as they realize they are not alone in their struggles. James facilitates a workshop on decision-making skills, drawing from the mistakes he wishes he could rewrite. Aisha leads creativity sessions that free their minds and souls, while Maria shares life lessons from her teaching days, creating an unexpected classroom of hope. Lucas, grappling with his fears, finds newfound strength in their collective goal to embrace change. Together, they vow to emerge not just as individuals, but as allies determined to break the cycle of despair that once bound them.